Yep. Eagles going a different route at the 10th overall pick, and I think every single day until the draft, which is a few days away, this thing is going to get more crazy with rumors, more speculation, and what the Eagles could really be looking into to really kind of fool everybody that they could be going after a whole different position. Some news that came out, and let's get straight into it. Yo, what is going on, guys? Hope everyone's having a fantastic day. So, some reports coming out, and like I said, you got to take everything with a grain of salt. Don't believe everything that you see online, but, okay, there's things that you're either going to believe or think most likely it will happen, or just things that are just BS type of reports that do come out. Now, Tony Pauline is definitely one of those guys that has been kind of correct on certain picks, or at least I'll say interest level. I think he's been very good on interest level of the Eagles and what they really like in the draft. Kind of proved it last year. He talked about Cam Jurgens last year, how much the Eagles had interest in him, and they drafted him in the second round. There's more news coming out right now. At a wide receiver at 10, they're gonna fool everybody. And they're going to take the most, for some fans it's unexpected, and maybe to some other fans it's not, because they want to give Jalen Hurts more weapons. Okay, now this was a tweet that came out. Interesting, the Philadelphia Eagles are making a late push for Ohio State wide receiver JSN, per Tony Pauline. The Philadelphia Eagles are making a late push on the wideout and doing a lot of work on him in the coming days, in recent days. Okay, number one. Okay, that report just sounds really weird. It's like they're making a late push. What, they're finally going, maybe they're just going out, they're finally studying JSN from Ohio State like the last few days before the draft. I mean, the Eagles, I don't think, had a pre-draft visit with him, but that really doesn't mean nothing, because sometimes, there will be guys, teams that will be interested in players that necessarily don't visit a team. But could they actually think that JSN could be the fourth best player in this draft? Okay, now it depends on how you look at it. One is, do you think wide receiver is more important than offensive line for the Philadelphia Eagles right now? Which I highly doubt. Okay, they signed that receiver from the Falcons, to be in competition with Quez for wide receiver 3. And really, there's nothing else behind that. You have your starting, you have Devontae Smith, you have A.J. Brown, you have Quez Watkins, which I think the Eagles do want him to start this year. Shaquille is probably going to be that receiver that they use on specific, certain things, maybe screen pad. He's a smaller, more twitchy, fast type receiver. Is a pure slot receiver, which is interesting. So had his best year last year with over 500 yards, 3 touchdowns, I think 13 to 14 yards a reception. A really good year, and I think a really low risk, high reward type signing, which there are a lot of those on this defense this year. Could they go all in and say, you know what? JSN is the pick. JSN is who they've wanted this whole entire time. I'd be kind of shocked if they spent a first-round pick on another receiver. You know what I mean? I think that would kind of shock me. It doesn't shock me that they get an offensive player, but it shocks me that they go after wide receiver. Especially after signing Zacchaeus, Quez Watkins is still here, only for one more year though. So maybe that one more year for Quez, maybe they're not planning on re-signing him. Quez really has a contract year this year and really needs to prove his worth for this team. He wasn't that great. I mean, I think a good beginning of the year, a nice strong beginning of the year, and then he kind of, he got injured apparently with the grade 2 shoulder sprain, and he made some mistakes on the field. As a number 3 receiver, you always have to be ready for the football. Even though you're not one of the main focal points of that offense, you still got to get ready for it. And there were times where Jalen Hurts had great connections with Quez Watkins, but Quez wasn't paying attention half the time. There were some throws that, he just didn't see coming, and they were perfect throws, or ones that he dropped or fumbled. He made some mistakes. He was very humble about it at the end of the year. So is JSN more valuable than getting a Skoronski, a Paris Johnson, okay, and Osiris Torrance? Like, is he more valuable than those guys to the Philadelphia Eagles, than offensive linemen? I feel like the offensive line is probably more valuable just because we really don't have anybody right now, depth-wise. And if Cam Jurgens, if they feel comfortable with Cam Jurgens playing right guard in between Kelsey and Lane Johnson this year. We don't know if the Eagles really like Cam Jurgens at right guard. We don't know. We know he's our future center when Kelsey retires, but we honestly don't know if he's the answer at right guard. So they could have interest in a guard. Obviously, Skoronski's a tackle. They kick him in the guard because they don't think there's going to be a tackle in the league. Paris Johnson could play multiple positions. You kick him in at guard, and then obviously once Lane Johnson retires, he can move over to right tackle when the time comes. So obviously there's impact. There's, if that's what they think an impact player is going to be for this team. If you're drafting a guy at 10, you have to start him. If you're drafting an offensive lineman at 10, especially a guard, you're going to have to start him. Okay. I like JSN a lot. I think his route running is fantastic. His catching is great. Blocking is really good. Runs really smooth routes. I think as a number 3, he would flourish here. There's no doubt about it. It's not saying that I don't like this. I'm saying it as, do the Eagles value a receiver, the top receiver, more than drafting an offensive lineman that is going to? Because really, at the end of the day, like, if you're drafting an offensive lineman, that means he's starting at guard. There is going to be a guard or a tackle that's going to play guard that is going to start at right guard for the Eagles. Okay, that's what I'm kind of getting at here. And everyone can have their own opinion on it. Now, the Eagles are having they're doing late. They're looking over. They're just looking at JSN right now this week. Yeah, I highly doubt it. So some of these articles can be blown out of proportion when it comes to players that the Eagles are looking at. Okay, I still feel like the Derrick Henry stuff is realistic. I still feel like Bijan Robinson is very realistic. I still feel like they could draft an offensive lineman at 10, maybe a trade back most likely. If I'm going after any of these offensive linemen, regardless at 10, I'm still trading back a couple picks. You know what I mean? If you're going after a running back, if you're going after Bijan, you're staying at 10. If you're going after an offensive lineman, you're probably moving back. If you're going after a defensive end, you're moving back. A DT, you're moving back. You're moving back at a lot here. The 4th best player in this draft, I honestly don't know. That's probably the hardest one for me right now because it really depends on the point of view of the Philadelphia Eagles and how they see as that number 4, the best prospect at the 4th best player in this draft. Okay, obviously minus quarterbacks. And I got to tell you, I don't know. I honestly don't know. I feel like they're going to value an offensive lineman more than getting a receiver. That's just me, but who knows? If they got JSN, I'd be shocked. I'd be more than shocked because I still feel like the Eagles are still going to draft they're going to be 2 offensive picks and 3 picks. Okay, 2 out of the 3 first picks that they have, they're going to be 2 offensive guys, and I really do believe that at this point. Okay, but JSN to the Eagles, I honestly be a little surprised. Not surprised because of an offensive player being drafted, but actually a receiver in the first round. You know what I mean? And I guess you could say maybe it makes a little bit of sense because, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith aren't going to be playing for long. And if you're looking at the contract situation right now, Devontae Smith, his contract's going to be done before A.J. Brown's contract is done. And then once, Devontae Smith will most likely resign. He is a homegrown talent. And obviously A.J. Brown is best friends with Jalen Hurts. So would he actually take less money? I don't know. I think realistically A.J. Brown could leave after his contract is up, unless he signs something real short, not crazy amount of money, and maybe he wants to stay here. Who knows? And then Quez Watkins, we don't even know if they're even going to sign him after this year. So maybe they're getting themselves prepared to say, you know what, let's go the total opposite route. And they've had interest in JSN this whole entire time. Give more firepower to Jalen Hurts in this offense. And I'm telling you, JSN in the slot is going to be a nightmare. It's going to be absolutely insane. So like I said, there's a lot of different combinations you could think of in this draft. But, reports you have to take with a grain of salt when it comes to reports like this. But Tony Pauline has been pretty good on who the Eagles have been interested in. We've heard 2 names so far. One, Adebawore from Northwestern, defensive end. Eagles apparently have a lot of interest in him, and we've heard, obviously, now this with the JSN stuff going on, that they really have been doing recent work on him. Recent work? You're telling me that they haven't done any work on him the whole entire offseason? Come on now. I mean, that just, like, that article just sounds really stupid. It sounds dumb. You know, so they're making a late push. Like, it's like a late push. A late push to study him. Like, it just sounds stupid, you know, at the end of the day. Like, it's the way they narrated that tweet. It's just really dumb. It sounds stupid. It sounds dumb, you know. You know, you know what? I think we're going to start to go over him the last week of the draft, a few days before the draft. We're going to go over him. We might actually draft him now. No, I don't know. You know, smoke screen. But if you guys remember when we drafted Andre Dillard in that heavy defensive draft, it turned some heads a little bit. We had the 21st pick, the 22nd. I forgot what it was. 19. I forgot what it was. But that was a heavy defensive draft that year. A very heavy defensive draft when we drafted Andre Dillard. Okay, and they went the total opposite. This draft is obviously heavy defensive draft, I would have to say. There's some offensive guys in there that are top quality, but they could go the total opposite here. And, you know, JSN will definitely be there at 10. I would say 100% JSN is going to be there at 10. I don't even really think he's going to go top 10. I don't see it happening. I feel like there's a lot more positions that are going to have to be made between offensive linemen, defensive linemen, a corner or two coming off the board, plus the quarterbacks. I mean, defensive. I mean, I feel like JSN will be there. And if they make this pick, I'll be really shocked. I'll be shocked in some case because this is a position where you already drafted this. I mean, you traded for a receiver last year, a first-round talent. Really a first-round pick. A.J. Brown for a first-round pick, pretty much, okay? Really, you switch first-round. You know what I mean? You pretty much, that's what you did. That's what you did. You got A.J. Brown for a first-round pick, pretty much, and all the extra third, whatever they gave Tennessee or whatever it was. And then, obviously, Devontae Smith. You've drafted him in the first round. So it's just like you drafted A.J. Brown in the first round and got Devontae Smith, obviously drafting him in the first round. Could they actually do it for a third time and get another wide receiver for Jalen Hurts? It's actually scary. It's scary to see what the Eagles would do, because if they get anybody offensively, whether it's a lineman, a running back, a wide receiver, even a tight end, okay, which I don't think that's going to happen, not early anyway, for a tight end. But sky's the limit, really. They can make this offense a huge strength from this draft, and it's really scary to see what they could do here. Now, personally, like I said, I don't think JSN is the pick. I don't think the Eagles think he's the fourth best player, but you never know. You know what I mean? Because I don't even really know who the fourth best player is. I'm really trading back if Anderson's not there at 10, if the Eagles don't make a jump for Jalen Carter, and if Bijan's not there at 10, I think you're trading back. I think it's already said and done. They're going to try to get a fourth-round pick, fifth-rounder, try to keep themselves alive in this draft, and still be able to use those 2 first-round picks if they do trade back and make their picks. So this would be very interesting, very surprising in a lot of ways for me, to a first-round receiver again, which would be kind of amazing. More firepower, which is great, but the Eagles need depth at line. The Eagles need a starter at guard if they don't think Cam Jurgens is the guy, and the Eagles need a 3-down back badly. We need like a future guy, and I think I've always known that, at least, which, you know, I don't care about past narrative. I don't care what the Eagles didn't draft for years or what they did draft. I don't give a crap about any of that. Because at the end of the day, Howie Roseman is going to do what's best for the team, not by past narrative what the Eagles did in the past. This is a new regime. This is a new era for Philadelphia. We are going to be winners, okay? And that's the way it goes. So let me know what you guys think about the JSN, that they are, late to studying him this week. And could JSN be the pick at 10? I don't know. But I want to hear your thoughts on who is the fourth best player in this draft. And do you think the Eagles think that JSN is that guy? If you lasted this long, please subscribe to the channel. If you guys haven't subscribed or haven't liked the video, please like the video. We're going to be streaming, doing videos every day for the next few days till the draft. We'll be streaming the draft on the Philly Shakedown podcast, and very excited for it. You guys have a fantastic day, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Shakes what up, follow slide. Peace out, guys. Peace.